bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for Bring 'em Out with your hosts, Joel Richardson and Alan Hill.
Hey, this is Joel Richardson, SoulJoel for Bring 'em Out. This is another episode with a co-host, Alan Hill, and it's a special episode because one of the first guys I started in comedy with on Staten Island, in Staten Island?
I say on.
You say on.
I say on.
Yeah. John
Yeah.
Szeluga. John Szeluga. It's always a debate, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you say? What do you go with?
I
In
say
or on?
I say on.
I say on.
Yeah, on the
Staten
island.
You're on an island.
On
Yeah.
the island. Yeah. I think
You're
so.
in a
Yeah.
tunnel.
Because it's also like, and then you get off the island too, right?
I got off. I got
Yeah.
on, then I got off.
You get off. You want to get off.
Yeah. Are you on?
I'm not on. I'm off.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're off to the races, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I'm in Jersey now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the progression.
That's
Brooklyn,
the most Staten Island thing
Staten
you
Island,
can
it's
do.
the- yeah. It's
yeah,
the-
yeah. And then after that, it's Pennsylvania or Florida, right?
Right,
That's
right,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. The PA for me. I'm not a Florida guy.
Oh, you're going to come over?
I think I would come out this way.
All right.
Yeah,
Good
that's what
man.
my grandparents did.
Nice.
They were near Hawley, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, up in the Poconos.
Yeah.
Is that your grandfather with the old box? The box?
No.
The movies?
No.
That was other
This
side.
grandpa had. I never found this grandfather's porn. Just the other.
Okay,
just the
well-
other one. Yeah.
That was one of his first jokes because we were at
Yeah,
the first
jeez.
open mic together, 17 years ago.
The mic.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We talked about it on the last
Yeah, we
podcast.
just talked about it on the podcast. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because how
Yeah.
I'm a maniac and how you texted me, and I was like, so. Do you want to open for Ben Bailey? You're like, sure, but that's not why I reached out. I'm like, do you want to do a live podcast? Yeah, again.
Yeah, I'll do that, but that's not why. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was great tonight.
It was
What do you
awesome.
think, man?
Just open.
Unbelievable.
Because-
So great. The venue was fantastic. I had to send my wife just a video. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
look at the size of this place.
Yeah.
Very cool. And
Because
the crowd
we-
was fantastic.
We've done some crap gigs together, so
Yeah, we have.
You
Yes, we
appreciate
have.
ones like tonight.
here we
huh?
are.
Yeah, but even those, the crap gigs were good. It's what we were supposed to be doing. Then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, to get good, to get like a ninja.
You were saying, we met at, was it at the Village Lantern? that we
At the
met?
Village Lantern, and then we met back at
And then back again on Staten Island. Somewhere.
somewhere Martini Red, doing the mics together. I told him about the open stage, open mics.
Oh, yeah. Well, Joel was great. He used to do this show at a place called Dugout Pub on Staten Island.
Not to
And
brag.
My apartment was 2 blocks away, so that was always the best call when Joel was like, "Hey, I got this other thing. Can you host for me?" And it was always I'll say this about you too. Joel always took care of the comics. It was one of those things you were gonna get fed, you were gonna get paid, and at that time it was. Yeah, just to get a meal was great. And
you
then
could
get
walk
drunk. Yes, I could stumble home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
You don't have to worry about
Yeah, that was the best. Those gigs were great.
And then I told them about the story about Nate Bargatze and Pat O'Shea.
Pat O'Shea.
And the four of us riding in the car together when my company was footing the bill.
The best. Did you tell them about the actual show? Because when we got there,
So the show's a little hazy to me. I
right.
didn't tell that story.
you
That
might
part of the
remember.
story.
Well, there was a guy there, and I was kind of told not to mess with the guy because they were last time he went home, came back with a shotgun and shot a hole in the ceiling.
I did not tell this part of the story. I don't even know if anybody told me this part of the story. And don't tell Joel. He might go,
This was not discussed.
Yeah, no, and I remember just going
Yikes.
And he's here. It was.
Yeah.
The crazy thing was
oh, that's just Phil being Phil.
That guy came up to us after.
Yeah.
Because I'm at the table with Nate and Pat and you, and he comes over and he goes, "You boys all suck tonight." I remember that's what he said, and then he went, "Let me buy you a drink," and he bought us around.
That talk about different areas. That's the most Pennsylvania thing that'll ever happen, dude.
Y'all
You're like,
suck.
this crowd stinks, and they're the first one to buy you around.
Totally.
You will never go in your
Yeah.
pocket. They might be animals, but they're kind.
Yes.
That was a tough show, but at the same time, Nate had a good night.
Monster.
Nate, watching
Monster.
it was he was incredible. Yeah. And the car ride home was that was
the
the
best.
best. That was the best.
That was when Nate was still drinking.
yeah. Yeah, I remember him just chewing tobacco in the back too. That was the other thing.
Oh, the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really is country.
Oh yeah, yeah. Very cool. So you told that story already?
But
on
not
this?
not that part. I had a much different, like, just that
With the car, the radio.
Pat O'Shea, the radio, and Kate 92.3 K Rock. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Soder surprising us all.
DJ Soder.
So funny. I'm being like drunk in the back too. It was like so surreal when the guy in the radio was talking to you.
Yeah.
That's insane, man. That's wild.
And then now watching Nate on like countless specials and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But I mean,
well deserved. I mean, he's one of the best. Yeah.
And
very
you
cool.
hung in there, and you started. You got hired, and now this is now the 6th season that you were with Impractical Jokers.
So
you guys just wrapped season 10.
I started on season 5.
Season 5. Okay.
Yeah. So
5, 6, 7,
It's
8,
6.
9, 10.
6 seasons.
Easy, brother.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, 6 seasons, 7 years, because season 9 was like the never-ending season.
COVID hit or something?
It was we were shooting it, and then COVID hit, and we shut down, and we had to reinvent the show. Came back, did like another third of it, and then Joe Gatto left the show
Okay.
kind of unexpectedly, and we had to suddenly stop down, rethink the show again. If you were to binge season 9, it's insane. It's like pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, and then post.
So
Joe
that's
Gatto.
what happened. So last night, almost in preparation to see you, and I'm a huge fan. I've seen like the first couple of seasons over and over again.
Yeah.
But then like I hadn't, just with trying to survive the last year and figure out where I was gonna go, I hadn't watched season 8 or 9. So I was like, well, let me watch 9, and I'm like, you're in it the whole time. But also you see the behind the scenes, and all the guys are masked up.
Yeah, you'll see that.
So
all of a
unlike the
sudden.
crew, so I'm like, oh, what? So in my mind, I know there's post production and it takes a while, but I'm like trying to figure out the time frame.
Yeah, and we had a lot of those COVID rules stayed in place even till the end of season 10. You know, like they were still being very careful. So like just to go on set, you had to be tested a couple days before, and then you still had to get rapid tested that day. If you're not on camera, you should be masked. You know what I mean? Like, so they were still really, really strict.
Where were you
about
shooting,
it.
John?
We were shooting. I mean, for a show that shoots a lot in Manhattan, when COVID hit, we suddenly were in Jersey a lot.
I figured it was pretty strict in Manhattan.
Yeah, it was a lot easier for us to do stuff there, and we weren't in parks and malls and stuff so much because everybody on camera had to be COVID tested, so you can't just go up to a stranger in the mall.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So instead, it's kind of like we're going to hire plumbers or whatever and tell them they're doing some job, and then they have to get tested to be in the building. Like, it was so much more complicated.
Right.
During that time, and you'd jump through all these hoops to get somebody to do all that, and then Sal would walk into the room and they'd go, "Impractical Jokers." And like
Yeah. Well,
that person would have to go home, and you bring in the next one.
Because that was
Wow.
I kept thinking, I'm like,
That's a lot.
when you talk to people, everybody knows the show. So I went and saw them live. They showed like the outtakes, and they guys, I forget what season or what episode, but everyone pulled up in the white van like a creep.
Oh,
and then Sal opened
to
it.
get in the van.
And the lady,
Yep.
she wasn't even intimidated. She goes, "Oh, Sal!" And he goes, "All right, I gotta go." And then pulls away.
Yeah, it happened. I mean, that's the thing we're constantly up against.
Yeah. But and when I tell people that you're a writer and producer, everyone thinks that like that just naturally happens. You're like, no, like there's people behind the scenes organizing it and coming up with it and putting the right ingredients and people together, the right scene, the right scenario, the right place.
Yeah, there's so much. Like, there's all different just locations and like getting. There's Jay Miller we brought up before. I know one of the things he didn't like about the job, what he would do is like he had to lie to people a lot. You know what I mean? Because people would think they're going to some event, some poetry reading or something like that, and he was a lot of times the guy that was putting on the fake event and getting people in there. And yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of that. People are responding to like Craigslist ads and stuff.
The old fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
So
that's
amazing.
why you
That's
used to film a lot in Manhattan, because it's so transient and tourists and people, so that like
That's it.
that's where you kind of people are in, just.
And nobody gives a crap about
That's what I
celebrities.
was gonna say. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
busy, so they got stuff to do. So no one's really paying attention because they see celebrities all the time, or just don't even notice.
Yeah, or you'll just get that like, oh, hey, love the show, and then they keep walking. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm late. I gotta.
Yeah.
I'm on a 45-minute lunch.
Well, we finally, the cool thing about this last season is we were able to get like back out on the street, back into parks, back into malls
Very
and
cool.
stuff. And it feels, the show needed that.
Yeah.
We got through that time, and we were able to like come up with ideas that were COVID friendly, but
Right.
it feels so good to be out in public again.
So
And it seems like when Joe left the show too, you guys bringing in like more celebrities and more not celebrities, but guests.
Well, there is a celebrity guest every episode now.
Right.
That's the new formula. Yeah. Which has been cool. I got to meet Alf.
yes,
That's one.
Speaking of celebrity guests that are real,
that's awesome. Did you bring him a cat to eat?
Oh my! I wanted to. Yeah. Oh, that was I mean, that was wild for me. That was one of those things where I just want to like get in a time machine and go back and tell myself as a kid, like, you're gonna work with Alf.
You're gonna work
at a time when nobody's working with Alf. It was wild.
since you're not up to anything, I got a couple of
Wild.
questions.
Dude, they said it was the original. They had just kind of had it like fixed up a little bit, but it was like the original puppet from the pilot episode.
Amazing.
And I got to kind of see the behind the scenes of it. They're very that whole team is really secretive. It's almost like dealing with a magician or something. They don't want photos, they don't want video. But I got to kind of see that whole rig and.
Yo, so you didn't get to take a picture with Alf?
No. I got to just be in his presence, but there were no photos. No
Pure
photos allowed.
accolades. Just
Dude,
bragging about it.
You don't even see him when they bring him onto set. It's like he's completely covered. You'll never just see an Alf puppet lying around.
Yeah.
When you see Alf, he comes to life, and you see him, and when they're done with him, he goes away.
Oh, that's
like
cool. Yeah.
no one experiences.
They
that.
cover him with like a sheet
They
or
like
something?
literally like a trash bag. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but it's a big deal. They're like very protective of it. They buy Alf his own first class ticket to fly. They like get a seat for the puppet. They won't even put him in like in any luggage. Or
What?
anything. Yeah,
That is
he's in like a
incredible.
bag, but he has a seat in first class.
Dude, you can't even say that with a straight face.
That's incredible.
It was wild. Yes, we got to work with some cool people and like David Cross, which was huge.
Oh, that's
for
awesome.
me.
Oh, my
And,
gosh.
I got to do something with Michael Ian Black that hasn't aired
Nice.
yet, and so there's been like some really. I'm not always on set, but I got to interact with some really cool people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been this unexpected version of the show. No one thought we'd have celebrity guests on, you know.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's cool.
You get to get some airtime, obviously, which is cool.
Yeah, which is.
Surreal.
I think you know this. It's surreal, and I'm not. It's a thing on the show, but it's true. Like I don't love being on camera. Like I've said no to things, and it drives them nuts. Q got really mad at me.
Really?
Yeah, because
He's like, I don't get it.
They wanted me to dress as like Gallagher in a bit, and I wouldn't do it. And
Yeah,
he
you're
was
like out of pure principle.
yeah, furious, and he gave me a whole spiel about like selling out and how I should do it every chance.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you
But he
have
was
done
right.
Gallagher too, though?
Gallagher 2, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah.
Do you know what's so funny? So you just reminded me too. Before I had this place and before I opened up SoulJoel's, I had the Valley Forge Casino.
Yeah.
And so Jay Miller came down and I put him on the show with Jackie the Joke Man from Howard Stern. So I'm obviously just trying to network and meet people and let them know what's going on.
Yeah.
So obviously people know who Jackie is,
Sure.
and Jay was a huge fan. So I said, hey, Jackie, this is my friend Jay Miller. He's a writer and producer for Impractical Jokers. Without hesitating, Jackie goes, great. What do you want me to do? Suck his? And I go, oh my God. I mean, Jackie, a little unnecessary. Like, well, that's the icebreaker. Like, I mean, it's just
Perfect.
yeah, perfect. And I go, all right, well, I'll leave you two alone. I'm gonna go
Too funny.
check the rest of these folks in, and we'll start the show shortly. Jackie, good to see you again. I mean, my God.
Oh, it's so funny.
Did you ever get any weird reactions like that, or just crazy people that once, because like you're at water cooler talk, you're like, what do you do for a living?
What, just crazy with like other comics like that?
Or comics or other people,
There's people, it's great when you meet somebody and they're exactly who you want them to be.
right?
I mean, this is an old. I wasn't even performing on the show. I used to do like a lot of stagehand work and stuff in this
right on.
theater on Staten Island, and I met Pat Cooper.
Oh, rest in peace, right?
And dude, he was exactly who I wanted him to be. So like, I was, I'm a stagehand. I was just going into the green room to like check on something, and I didn't know he was in there. And he's
Yeah.
in there, and there's a whole spread of food.
Right.
And stuff. And right away, he's like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like he just like, but. Exactly who I want him to be, and he's like, I was. He's like, go ahead, take something. You're just gonna fucking steal it anyway. Like all of this shit. But he like made sure everybody ate and everything. But he was that guy the whole time. And I told him a story because my grandfather owned a bar on Staten Island. It was called Johnny's Bar and Grill.
Okay.
It's Denoy.
Okay.
Like the end of Victory.
Yeah.
And but that was my grandfather's place, and my grandfather told me when I started doing comedy that like he had one comedian perform in the bar, and it was Pat Cooper.
Wow!
And
Get
he had so
outta
many people in the town came out for it that there was more room in the kitchen than the bar. So my grandfather set up seats in the. My grandfather always told us this. It's like great story. So Pat Cooper, I go, my grandfather had a bar on Staten Island. He said you did a show there, and he went. Is it when I performed in the fucking kitchen? And I was like, yes, it was. He remembered it.
Oh, that's amazing.
And for him, it was like, I got on a fucking boat, and then I had to get on a bus, and it was like riding out to the middle of nowhere and everything. It was for him, it was one of these crazy nightmare gigs that my grandfather said was like his one of his favorite
That's so
moments
cool,
in the bar.
man.
But I can't
Wow.
believe Pat Cooper, like, because he had to be in his 80s at that point, right? And he still remembered, like, sharp as a tack.
A billion gigs in between, and
right.
you still remember. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
you remember the bag gigs?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
You
buddy.
do. You remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Or the weird ones, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm sure he wasn't happy about being in the kitchen.
And you don't. I always tell people, yeah,
That's not what you want to do a show.
yeah, you can't stand the heat. No, I didn't want to be in the kitchen in the first place. That was the problem. Well, I always tell people too. It's like you don't focus on the 200 people that are laughing. You focus on the one person who's not paying attention or heckling or they have their arms crossed
I enjoy the hell
or
out
they
of seeing that
have
with
they
you
have
guys.
a prophet
Kelly is the all-time king of
beard.
Yeah, you do. You fixate on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How could you not? Right? That's all. I mean, that's why we're up there in the first place.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, what's it like working with all your friends? Because people don't know, like half the cast is all guys you started with. Like you know,
Well, it's
like
why-
Jeff,
it's- well,
Casey, obviously.
So Jeff Sellis, who's the director of photography, Casey Jost, who's the director now, Joan Bergio, who's in the writers' room, Jay Miller worked on the show. There are people on the crew. It's like the only place where like being from Staten Island it's like a good thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you're hired if you're from Staten Island. But it's wild because we were doing shows like at the back of Martini Red for free with that whole crew, Sal included.
Yeah.
You know, was a part of that and stuff and everything. So then to like still be working with them is the best.
Oh, yeah.
It's unreal. Yeah, it's very cool. It's a cool thing about that show.
It is cool.
Yeah.
And everybody helps each other out. Like Sal always like took care of everybody.
Yeah, he did. Well, similar to like what I was saying about you, like when there used to be comedy shows at Cargo Cafe on Staten Island. That's where he was bartending.
Yeah.
Same thing. He made sure everybody got fed. You know what I mean? It was like it goes a long way with comics.
Huge,
Where it's
yeah.
just like,
And I didn't realize that's where he met a lot of the comics too.
yeah, absolutely.
Like Mark Norman, Chris Stefano, they all would come there to do a half hour first.
It may have been Norman when we were like excited that Impractical Jokers got picked up, and we were like, and he was like, which one is Sal? And we said who it was. He was like, the fucking bartender. May have been him.
No,
think it was.
that's a Norman thing to
Sounds
say.
like it, yep.
Yeah,
Because Sal-
comedy.
Sal was not doing stand up. He was part of the Tenderloins, and they were doing sketch, and they were doing improv, and they were putting videos on YouTube, and they were hustling, and they were doing that. But like at those stand up nights, he was the guy behind the bar.
Yeah.
he
Dude,
wasn't.
serving drinks, yeah.
Stand up came after Jokers. He always wanted to when he talked to me about it a bunch.
Yeah.
And it took him a while to do it. And then it was cool when he was, because he would like, I would have him on shows that I was producing and stuff, but he wouldn't want to
Promote
I
it.
would never promote that he was on.
Right.
So it was a cool experience for people who were there, but you also know when you're producing a show, you want to be like, can I please tweet that you're doing this one? You know? But it's tough when you're already known for doing comedy on a show like that, because then you come out and it's like, stand up is the new thing. You're trying stuff out.
Yeah.
And people are super excited to see you.
You don't have a
but, like,
team. I was talking to Alan about
Yeah,
that. Like, because
yeah.
he's in a band, and I'm like, would you perform solo? He's like,
Yes.
absolutely not.
Yeah, where you go.
I got my guys.
Yeah, it's a different thing. But now he's doing it, and Murr's doing solo shows, and Joe Gatto's out there doing solo stuff. It's been interesting to see them
building your act while you're already super famous like Sal.
Yeah, I think it's tricky, right? On the one hand, you have an advantage because they're cheering for you before you even start. But I think you've heard plenty of comedians say like that only lasts only lasts so long.
Yeah, you get like that 5-8 minute window.
Yeah,
Like
but,
people get settled in, like they want to start hearing the substance.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Charlie Murphy.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
the Chappelle Show took off.
yeah, absolutely.
He had never done stand up.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy.
Then he's a headliner.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah.
So to break the fourth wall, people always look over at me, or I start laughing. I've told everybody for different reasons because I see the facial expressions, and I constantly I have texting elbow because I never leave my phone down. People were emailing me while the show was going on, asking what his name was.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, which is the reason why I went by SoulJoel, because everybody can't remember what those white guys' names are that are comics. And I'm like, and even though I said, give it up for John Szeluga, please welcome my friend John Szeluga.
Who's gonna type in SZ?
Yeah,
That's the thing.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who has a last name that's spelled that way? Louis C.K. He doesn't use that last name. Yeah. It's one of the, I do. I mean, whatever. It's what I've been performing as forever. But
I thought you were gonna say you regret it.
I sometimes regret not having like a stage name or simplifying the spelling, because it
Johnny
is that thing where like
Z.
it's hard to it's harder to find.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's harder to like look somebody up.
Right.
And of course, when you think about it, you're probably like, do I really want to be stuck with this weird name I just gave myself for the rest of my life, too? The other end of it.
That's it too. It's
You wanna
tricky
be
to.
Carrot Top?
Yeah. No. I mean, I do.
You do.
I do.
Yeah.
I want that money. I want
Yes.
that house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd sign
I'm
the checks Carrot Top.
But people don't realize too, like on social media, like I tag them all, and I'm gonna post the pictures from tonight. I'll post a video, and I'll tag them again. But people are in the moment. They're like, "Nah, I just want to know his name. I'll email Joel."
Well, thank you. That's really that's very cool.
Yeah.
This was fun. I mean, I'm just now, because the Impractical Jokers is down. I'm looking to get up there more.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been doing that much. I never quit, but I wasn't doing it a lot.
Well, when you're walk us through like a typical day. Like you're probably on set for like when you're actually shooting, it's probably like a 10-hour day, right?
It depends. I mean, sometimes we're on set and those are long days. Other times we're just, the writers are kind of in their own bubble doing stuff, and that show's just crazy. There's easy days, there's hard days. There's days where you write all day and then you get an email or a call that's like, the location fell through or the weather looks bad or whatever, and suddenly there's a different bit that isn't written for, and you're,
Right.
Sometimes it's a real scramble.
Right. So,
But it's fun. I can't complain. The crew is the one that they have to go to a new space every time and hide cameras, and they're the ones that are up long before the sun. You know what I mean? Like that's.
But to compare it with stand-up, that's why you're not able to then be like, oh, I have some time now. Let me write some bits and go and hit a mic or hit a show.
Yeah,
because your schedule's too unpredictable.
It's hard to guarantee that I can be anywhere, and also, and I do have 2 kids at home who are little, so it was just kind of like, yeah,
Shout out to Christine.
Shout out to Christine.
Yeah,
who's super supportive. I mean, she's the one.
That's his wife, by the way.
I mean, logical.
She's been pushing me to do stand up, and she
The
says
long
hello.
beard.
She says hello, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because she was there since the beginning.
Yeah,
those
she's
early
heard
days.
all of our jokes multiple times.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
She's really good at. She does impressions of comics that nobody knows
Really?
from those days.
Yeah.
Which is really funny. Like I'm talking like 2006 and stuff.
Right.
I won't name names,
Right,
but,
but we-
not to put anybody down. But
I know the 2 guys you're talking about.
you definitely do. You definitely do. And it's
what are we doing?
It's really funny.
Yeah.
But she was
one's still in comedy, one's not.
A lot of them are still, and they're the people that are still doing it, and that's always amazing when you see somebody that like you saw doing comedy 15 years ago, and they're doing the same set and the same.
I thought the pandemic was going to wipe a bunch of them out.
Yeah,
and they're the ones that are still hung in there.
They don't quit. Good for them. Whatever. It's fun. I never got into it thinking I was going to make money. I always I wanted to make a living doing comedy just so I wouldn't have to do comedy after working all day. Do you know what I mean? It was just like the juggling of all of it. I do comedy because I love it.
Right.
And it was just like, man, it'd be nice if work and comedy were one and the same, just because it's exhausting. It's a lot. Yeah.
That's one thing that I always appreciated about Casey. Mm-hmm. Before he got the job and Impractical Jokers got picked up and he became like the head writer and producer.
And director now.
Oh,
he directed all of season 10. Yeah.
It looks like I have to touch up his resume. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
But he was hustling 3 jobs to make it work, like waitering, and also performing and stuff like that. Just he had backup plans.
Yeah, absolutely.
We think this show's going to be on TV, but what if it doesn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, that's it's always a hustle. You always hustle. That was
Yeah.
Not everybody does. There was always those comics that are like, quit your job, move out to Manhattan, and I'm always just like, who is paying you? Like, what are you not telling me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like somebody's got to be funding that endeavor.
Yeah.
I always had to work. Always had to work, and stand up was the thing you did after you made your money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
that's how it works, man.
Yeah. But this was so much fun tonight.
What a
This
great
was-
show.
Dude,
oh
the
my
crowd was
Yeah,
electric.
crowd
man.
was
the
booming.
first show like joke that you hit. You got
Feels
that
so-
big laugh.
It feels so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
550 people laughing at the same time.
That was
570.
570.
It's 570.
Nice.
Yeah,
But 550 laughed.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
No, they were great.
Yeah.
They were absolutely great. This is a cool spot.
It was hot room, man.
Yeah.
It's a great room, just as a room too, right?
Yeah, just the energy was right. Like the whole thing. And it sounds good. Like it's for a big space. I was telling Joel, you could stand anywhere in there and it sounds
here.
good.
Yeah, we worked out those kinks early on.
That's not easy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, Alan, we met over the pandemic,
Okay.
and he's been coming every weekend. Yeah,
I
Cool.
just
Yeah.
came until he told me not to leave.
yeah. All the way from Lancaster, like an hour, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
And
In my buggy.
but he like figured out this the kill box from like Bobby Kelly's special, having audience on every side. So you hear that laughter, and you're almost surrounded by it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have
on
you
every
seen
side.
Bobby's newest special, the one Louis C.K. directed?
I haven't watched
Yeah,
it.
it's. I mean,
No,
you know,
I
you got,
should.
it's.
Yeah.
But just the setup in the room.
Yeah.
Like he's surrounded. We can't do 360 here, but he's surrounded 360, and they're close and tight.
That's cool.
And it was
Yeah.
really. So we tried to replicate that here best we could.
Well, good job. It sounds good. Because, you know, I've done some of those big spaces where you hear your own jokes coming back at you.
Oh
you
my
know?
God. Yeah,
And it's-
yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
And I don't want that, and I'm glad that it's not.
No, it's not. It was excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. It was very cool.
Thanks,
Very
man.
cool. Yeah.
So I got a question
Okay.
for you. So
Okay.
is there actually? I've always wondered this about like SNL and things like that. And so for Impractical Jokers, is there an actual writers' room that you guys get together in physically? Are you doing it at home and talking over Zoom? How does that work?
We used to go into a room and we had a physical writer's room. And then when the pandemic hit, everything went remote, and we're still remote. But the writers, you know, you do lose pros and cons, right?
Yeah.
There's benefits to remote work because there were those days where I would pack up my laptop, commute 90 minutes, unpack it, put headphones on, write solo all day.
Yeah.
And then go home. That was ridiculous. So it's nice not having to leave. But then also there's a lot to be said about being in the room. So the writers, kind of on our own, try to get together almost unofficially. No one's asking us to, but
pretty cool.
you know, go into the city and try to at least like once or twice a week, either in a room or on set, because it's good. It's just better for the energy. I never really adapted to Zoom, even though it's like a regular part of my life now. I
Me too.
never liked it. Don't like having a camera on myself. That delay can kill.
Oh, it kills comedy.
There's times where you pitch something and nobody laughs, and that'll happen in a room. But in the room, you go, all right, nobody liked it.
Yeah.
On Zoom, you're like, did they hear it? You know what I mean?
Right.
And sometimes you want to be like, because you don't want to be like, did I cut out? And they're like, no, we heard you.
No, we were
Like,
right. Then he bombed twice. Yeah.
that sucks. But yeah, it's weird. But the cool thing is that I was home for dinner every night. Because
Yeah.
before that it was Monday through Friday. I didn't see my kid. I came home,
3 and a
everybody was in
6-year-old, if I
bed.
remember from the.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what they are now. So my son doesn't even remember the days where I wasn't home.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So now when I go in once a week, he's like, "Why do you have
what's
to?" And I'm like,
happening?
"Dude, you have no idea."
That's wild, man. That COVID year really did some interesting things.
Yeah, it's wild. And then kids they're out of school at like 3:00. I'm still working till 6 p.m., 7 p.m. So that's a tricky thing too, where it doesn't look like I'm working to them.
Right.
So I have my spot in the basement where I have to kind of hide out, and that's how we do it.
Yeah. Daddy work time.
Yeah, but it's good. It's cool. And I don't know. We'll see if there is another season. If there'll be a writer's room, or I have a feeling we'll continue to be remote, just because.
Well, once people figured out they can do it.
Yeah, it's hard to get anybody to come back,
Right.
and it's hard to convince anybody to pay to have a room in place too. It's a lot cheaper to have everybody.
Yeah.
remote.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're meeting in Manhattan.
Yeah. if I had some guarantee that I would be like remote forever, I'd want to move out to the middle of the woods somewhere. I'd be done. I made sure I was close to a train so I could commute, and I don't use it.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I don't go anywhere.
Right on.
Yeah, we moved into my house and had my daughter, and it was like just a few months before COVID hit.
Right on.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we were just doing it with my wife was working from home, I was working from home, and we had the 2 kids in the house when that went down.
Wow.
We did it. I don't know how we did it.
Man.
I remember like changing a diaper while pitching an idea, and I was really just like this, just like wiping a kid's ass and pitching an idea.
That's incredible, man.
It's wild,
That's incredible.
but it's a good thing. It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. That is.
So I like the hybrid model. I hope we can keep it that way.
Yeah, dig that. Dig that. Yeah, I did switch from. I teach guitar for a living.
Oh, okay.
And so 23 years at that point of doing face to face. This, as far apart as we are, and then all of a sudden now I'm dealing with delays and playing an electric guitar through an amp over Zoom sounds really bad. So it was a tricky to adapt. Yeah, man.
Probably had to change a lot of those settings, right? To start filtering all that stuff
And
automatically.
I'm useless. I'm useless.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know there were settings to change. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Those settings are all great for people who just want to talk to each other.
Right.
But the second you're trying to do anything else, it's cutting all that stuff
It sounds
out.
brutal. Yeah.
And it's rough not be like for guitar lessons, you want to be able to like at times I would imagine like even reach over and
place a finger, help with a finger placement,
Absolutely.
whatever. Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
It was definitely not ideal. It was the best option, so we did it. But
are there people now who prefer like getting lessons over Zoom?
not one, believe it or not.
Okay,
Yeah, which
yeah.
surprised me. I thought there might be some people that because some people took longer to get back out in the world and
sure.
stayed home longer, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Depending how they
yeah.
took the whole COVID thing, and I thought there would be some people, but no, everybody wanted to get back to in person as soon as I was willing to do
Wow.
it.
I mean to me that makes sense for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there'd be an oddball or two that might want to, but no.
Yeah, well, because now, especially now, it's that option for people. I know my wife who works in schools. We were talking about there was no snow this year for us, which was weird. But I was like, it sucks. You're not going to get any snow days. And she's like, I don't know if snow days are a thing anymore.
Yeah, right.
She goes, that might just be it snows a lot, and then everybody has to
Get to your Zoom.
jump onto Zoom.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Poor kids.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Man, they'll never know the joys.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So is it another thing? Is it true that you're taking a year off of drinking?
I am. Yeah. Yeah. Nights like this, it sucks. Well, I'll tell you, I knew I wanted to get back into stand-up, and that was part of the decision, too. 'Cause,
Okay.
like, I typically, Joel will tell you, I would not get on stage without knocking a few
Right
back.
on. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, usually a couple, like, scotches, and usually one in my hand when I was up there.
Right on.
Yeah, that was always the way. So this is, it's different for me. But it's good. I don't think it's forever, and a year is a lot, but I don't know, just going for it.
I love it, man. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's like I said, nights like tonight, it's a challenge.
Right on.
I
Right
want a
on.
beer so bad tonight.
No, well, listen, I'm not much of a drinker, but I am a big weed man.
Oh, okay.
And because we were filming doing the podcast tonight, I didn't take my normal edible.
I have not given that up.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
but yeah, nothing here. It's same thing, man. It's when I get home, it'll be. I got these things. They're called snoozeberries. These edibles.
Snoozeberries.
Yeah, I don't know something. Like, we got
Lay it
like,
on me. Tell me about 'em.
we got our dispensaries in Jersey now. Yeah, so it was like THC and some other. Is it CBN or something now?
CBD?
It's not CBD.
Not CBD?
It's another one of these things. They're
CBN?
yeah, I think that's what it is. But I don't know. They help me.
Yeah, man, I love edibles. I do.
Yeah.
You know Rick Simpson oil?
No.
Ever heard of that stuff? When I first got my card in PA, it's medical here. So I got on the website for the closest dispensary, and I was like a kid in the candy store, like, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this.
Yeah.
And then I flipped to a thing, and there's a picture of a syringe. I was like, people booting up weed, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never did heroin because I don't like needles, you know? And it's the only reason. And I was like, what the hell is this? So it's a plastic syringe filled with this sort of gooey, liquidy, viscous sort of weed goo.
Okay.
And Rick Simpson invented this stuff, and it supposedly cured his wife of skin cancer or something, right? But
Really?
it's really good if you put a bob of it on a Triscuit.
Wow. Okay. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, you get a syringe filled for $40 here, and it'll get you high for 10 comedy shows.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. I got to check that out.
Yeah, Rick Simpson oil.
Nice.
All right, so.
Very Very cool. Yeah, I found a dispensary by me has Jack Herrer. Like, have you had that strain?
No,
It's one I had it for the first time a couple years ago from like a friend who got it from his dealer, and it sucks when you fall in love with something like that, and then it just like
Back
couldn't
then when
find it
you-
again.
yeah, right.
You know, you get what you get,
Yep.
and that's it. And then it's like there's a place in Bloomfield, New Jersey that tends to have it, and it's just for me, I'm just the best on that.
See, I have mine is Cushman's.
Oh, I haven't had that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cushman's is the one for me.
That's your. Is that like sativa, indica? Is it a hybrid?
It's an indica leaning hybrid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I like the body buzz. You know,
Gotcha.
I'll do a
Okay.
sativa for the show, or if I'm
Yeah.
going out.
Yeah.
And then once I hit that couch, I'm all indica.
Yeah, well, that was it. The only reason I ever started, because I didn't smoke pot in my teens. I didn't smoke in my 20s. I came to it late, and I came to it looking for help sleeping.
Oh, dude, big for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big for that.
Yeah, and I was in the Poconos with some friends, and I remember sitting in a chair and I smoked, and then I woke up the next day. It was like 10 hours later in the same spot. Like I hadn't moved. I mean, I passed out
Yes.
because I have some real issues sleeping.
Right on.
Yeah, and that was a game changer for me.
It's
Yeah.
huge, man. Yeah, because I've been,
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons I do it. That's one of the
Yeah.
reasons I've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
It really helps the sleeping.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah. And you're right. Tonight is one of those where like, yeah, I'm all screwed up. I had coffee. I didn't have any of my edibles.
Show adrenaline if you're anything like me.
I'm good. Yeah, absolutely.
That's, I mean, we play a show. Gavin's in my band off camera over there.
Yeah.
And, we'll be done at midnight. I won't get to sleep until well after dawn, after the lights out, sun's up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get that.
Yeah.
I get the same way.
Right
yeah.
on.
You ride that.
Yeah, Joel and I were talking about similarities and differences between comedians and musicians.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of similarities with that stuff.
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's really interesting because I know a lot of comedians that want to be musicians, and I know a lot of musicians that want to be comedians. It's kind of this back and forth
Absolutely.
respect,
Yeah. And then every now and then you get the ones that do both, which is cool.
Yeah, man. No, it's a neat thing. One other thing I wanted to ask you to take a turn here is Joel stories from back in the day. I know a few people that come out here that would kill me if I didn't ask. Just like how he was, like, because he started promoting from almost the time he stepped on stage, from what he tells me.
Always. I mean, it was just I have nothing but good things to say about Joel.
Yeah.
He was always good to me, and a great eye for comedy too. So like I met. Through Joel, met and got to perform on shows. Like he mentioned Nate Bargatze, but Giannis Pappas and Julian McCullough, and there were comedians that I saw for the first time because Joel was booking them, and I don't know, he could just spot that in people. He's got he's got a good eye for talent.
No doubt, man.
Also, yeah, and he hustles, man. He gets people out.
He's a big-time hustler.
Yeah. So it's exciting to see him do this here with like a crowd that size, and
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
yeah, it's awesome, and it makes sense. I mean, it's like the natural progression for him,
Yeah. It really is.
Because it was like it literally. I mean, he'll tell you we met in like basements and stuff, and it was like dive bars and stuff, and then there was a comedy club on Staten Island, which was
That's awesome.
yeah.
awesome.
But Joel, I've been through a lot with Joel. Yeah.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah,
because
it's pretty cool.
Well, I met him. He did the how the whole pandemic story. Obviously, I'm sure.
Yes,
the Royersford and nobody's doing anything anywhere, and he does that 28 straight day comedy festival in August, starting August 1st of 2020.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Tuesdays with Stories guy. It's Joe List and Mark Norman.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wouldn't have never heard about it if I didn't listen to that podcast, and because Joe List was day one of that festival. And I was like, I don't know who this is, who this SoulJoel guy is. I, again, was surprised, like many people, to find out he wasn't black. And
yeah.
And I get down there for the show. I meet him. And 30 days later, my band is opening up for Jim Brewer.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's the kind of guy Joel is. You know what I mean? And he's the rarest of all unicorns and honest promoter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I really texted Joel about something else. And found myself booked on that.
He was telling me this. He was crazy.
Right away, just like, what are you doing next Friday? Like, just like that. And I was like, Joel, I'm not even asking for a spot. Because I hadn't talked to him forever. I really was just like, how's it going? I had a thing I wanted to run by him and stuff. And he just was like, right away he's got me booked.
It's so cool, man.
It was great.
Yeah, man. I just kept coming into shows until he put me on a podcast.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, Joel's the best.
Yeah.
It's cool. He did the Staten Island Comedy Festival. It was like a thing he was running for a while. And he's done a lot. Yeah.
I've heard some tales, and it's cool seeing different comedians come in, and the show is a very unique experience because they're going to interact with Joel sometimes. You know what I mean? Like Giannis.
Yeah.
Probably about a year ago now, I was doing a show in Jersey for Joel, and his special had just come out, and so Joel knew the act and he knew when it ended. You know what I mean? So he was scooting up to get ready to go out and do the end thing, and Giannis looks at him when he hit that last bit and goes, "I'm not done."
Yeah.
And he proceeds to tell 15 minutes of stories about Joel, the old days, and this road gig where they went to
that's
Pittsburgh to his grandfather's old age home.
Yeah,
The grandfather
yep.
took the mic and did his own show. I mean, you know what I mean? There's all these great stories, man. It's priceless.
Yeah, he's. I'm trying to think of. There was something that was just in my head and I blanked on it with Joel. Shit. Long day. Sorry, this isn't good podcast material. Me trying to think of something.
All good, bro. All good. We're good. That's why we can edit.
I just had something and I'm blanking. I'm sorry.
No worries, man. No worries.
What was it? It was something about the festival. I mean, there's stuff I don't know what I can get into sometimes.
Right. Anything he doesn't approve will be chopped.
No, I mean, because I know I was there with Joel and we like helped break up a fight between a comic and an audience member. And,
Oh, see, now that's an interesting part of Joel.
yeah,
Because he's such a nice guy. You know what I mean? Like the nicest guy you'll ever meet. But my man has a serious backbone when it comes to that kind of stuff.
When
Like,
somebody and it
I
happens
learned that
at
very
these shows
quickly.
and you need somebody like that and you know he was doing shows at this place called the Looney Bin on Staten Island and there's no security. There's you know what I mean? It was Joel and it was like a couple like waitresses and a comedy show. Somebody started getting out of line and this was the comedian went after a heckler.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was like that.
Oh,
and,
man.
And suddenly you're in the back and you're like breaking up a fight and stuff and everything. Yeah, I mean, it was. We had some of those shows, and Joel was in that moment. It's like he's security too. Yeah,
It's amazing, man.
Yeah,
He just told a story on the podcast the other day, so I won't say the whole thing again or anything. But he had to confront a dude on a Harley in Rofo, and we were both there. It was the Jim Brewer day when we opened up for Jim Brewer.
Yeah.
So we were there really early setting up, and this dude came and started giving him crap. And we went over to make sure everything was cool. And as soon as he started talking, I was like, he's good. He's good. And then the guy slinked away on his Harley.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's stuff that always it's gonna happen.
Yeah, man.
You add booze and
Right.
and you know people are cracking jokes and sometimes going at the crowd and it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's priceless, man.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by how you guys deal with that kind of stuff. You know, it's so fascinating to see the different ways people approach it, how it gets done. You know,
And it's a delicate thing.
yeah,
Because you know I remember there was a lady it was early on one of the first shows I was doing. A lady was like on her phone, like trying to give her friend directions to the place while I'm doing my set, and then literally said, "Can you tell my friend how to get here?" Like she asked me to get on the phone
Are you
and
serious?
tell the friend how to
hell?
get to the show. And I turned on her thinking like the crowd's gonna be with me, and man, I turned that whole room again. I was
you were
the
the
asshole.
enemy? Oh, man.
And I was hosting.
That's brutal,
So it's
dude.
like
Oh, so
great.
you're back up
Yeah, I'm
every-
gonna come up every 7 to 10 minutes, and you're gonna hate me the entire
brutal.
night. So it's that lesson in just like you gotta get the rest of the audience, like they have to be on your side, and they kind of have to be the ones. They have to shut that person down.
Yeah,
like
dude,
that's really the move.
That's amazing.
But yeah, that stuff is tricky, and you just have to learn how to handle it the best you can. Yeah, but
That's wild. Yeah,
you
'cause
can
it's-
turn everybody on you because they just saw it as this nice lady who's trying to bring a friend.
Right, exactly. Yes,
And I'm a
yes.
dick who's
Now
not.
you're the one that won't help their friend get there.
Yeah, yep, Yep.
She's not the lady that interrupted your carefully planned set.
crazy. Yeah, that was the Village Lantern. That was the same place where I met Joel.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
Right on.
and that was some shit shows there, man.
It's amazing.
There's one time I went up. I was like, I think I was the last comic to go up, and there were 5 people in the audience. And the comic before me finishes. They're introducing me. Table of 4 gets up and leaves. The one guy stays. And I remember I got off the stage and sat at the table and did my act for one guy.
That's
yeah.
incredible.
And it was really like at that point you're performing for the comics at the back.
Yeah, totally, man, totally.
Yeah, but that was that spot. There was I remember a mouse got on stage and just sat in front of a comic once. Just sat in front of the mic. I don't remember who the comedian was, but just looked down and went, You fucking kidding me? To the mouse, and then the mouse just like scurried off. People are eating.
That's
It
hilarious.
was like they were eating dinner, watching a comedy show.
Did he crowd work the mouse a little?
A little bit.
Priceless, dude.
But a lot of, and that was it. Joel was doing those same shows with me. Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a musician, we don't, we're louder than anybody who's going to be in the crowd. So if there's anybody that's a problem, we just start playing.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about it.
That's a different. I was wondering that now that I'm getting back out there, I was kind of wondering about hecklers and what it's going to be like now, because I think it's worse now, and I think it's social media is what's doing it, because all these comedians feel like they have to keep putting up content.
And they're putting up crowd work because they don't want to burn material.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
They don't want to burn material, or they already burned their material.
Right.
So they're going to crowd work, but they're posting videos of people heckling them and how they handled it, and they're doing it so much that they're training audiences, especially younger audiences, and people who haven't gone out maybe in 3 years, and they're like, "Oh, we got to go to a comedy show and yell at the guy," and you know what I mean?
Dude, check this out. So I was in the bathroom right before we started.
Yeah.
And I'm at a stall. The guy beside me is talking to his buddy. One guy says, "Why'd you say that?" I don't know what he said. I don't know which guy he was.
Okay.
But the other guy says, "Well, it was quiet."
Right. Yeah.
That's the kind of thing going through the brain.
Yeah. It's so I don't know. I'm just starting. And tonight was I didn't have any issues tonight. This was cool. But like I'm kind of curious to see as I'm getting out there more now what that's gonna be like. And
Were you there for Ben's interaction with? Was it Ed?
Yeah. And Joel eventually had to step in and say something to an audience member tonight. Yeah,
Yep.
sure. I mean, it's always been a part of it, but I don't like how it feels like the comedy community is like encouraging it.
I hear what you're saying for sure.
And it drives me nuts. It's like I don't know, because I'm somebody that like good luck finding me doing stand-up online, because to me it's like I don't want to put something up unless it's perfect.
Right. I get that.
I don't want to do crowd work. I don't want to do me trying stuff out. And I'm not up there to make reels.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want you to sit and like see my whole set. I don't want you to watch 30 seconds of it. I don't want to chop it up. I don't want to.
Yeah, that whole short attention
That's why
span.
nobody knows who I am. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't like the new rules. But
It's wild because there's comedians I've never heard of that have 30 million followers on TikTok and things like that.
Oh, sure.
A buddy of mine told me, like, have you ever heard of this guy? I said, no, he's 30 million followers on TikTok.
And that's huge.
Yeah,
now. I
yeah.
mean, I know with different friends of mine who've worked on like different TV shows and stuff, when they're casting now, it's not even about like auditions anymore. Like they're literally looking at how many followers somebody has. And some of these people don't necessarily make the transition to TV or long form, or
Just because you have a video that blows up and maybe you do a funny dance in your kitchen to some James Brown song doesn't mean you can carry a TV show.
Yeah, or you're the best at your format, whatever it is that you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know somebody who worked on another hidden camera show that it didn't ended up not seeing the light of day. It was like a Netflix thing, but there were no comedic performers. There was nobody who's done hidden camera or pranks. It was just these sort of like Instagram like models and TikTok personalities with like a huge following, and the whole thing flopped.
That's so strange.
Yeah.
Of course, because it's not gonna. Yeah, they're not gonna bring anything to it.
They were just hoping to get those followers in, and I'm like, those people aren't watching TV shows probably.
They don't even own TVs. Those people, I don't think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So it's I don't know. But it's a fun time for comedy right now. I feel really good about.
Oh, I mean,
everything is now, everybody's sort of recalibrating and responding to all of this stuff, and I'm excited for it.
You hear about the different booms over the different times, like the 80s had the big
Absolutely.
initial one in the 70s, then it died out for a little bit, then the 80s, and all these different things, right? But it seems to have been in a pretty good, steady upward lift for a long time now, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
you know?
I think good things are happening.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah,
Coming out of everything we just came out of, it's the best time for it.
Yeah, man. I mean, dude, when I was rolling into Royersford to see SoulJoel shows in a sand pit where, the closest person to me is over there somewhere, you know what I mean? And we're trying to figure out how to get it done. And all the comedians are like, I haven't done this for a while, you know what I mean? And, if they're doing it in New York, it's commando, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was fascinating. And seeing everybody come back from that. And
yeah.
It's stronger than ever, I feel like.
I think so, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Well, that feels like a wrap to me. How do you feel, John?
I feel good.
My man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for Bring 'Em Out with SoulJoel. We'll go find SoulJoel now.
Yeah. Bring him out without SoulJoel. Thanks so much, man.
Right on,
It was good
brother.
meeting you.
Thanks for
Appreciate
doing.
it.
Yeah, it was a real pleasure,
Yeah.
man.
Thank you, guys. This was cool.
All right, well, I'm back,
Welcome back.
and we're wrapping.
And now for the rest of the show.
It's where, that's the finance everything, man. Trying to juggle too many hats and.
This is a little insight of what this guy does to get
Yeah.
these shows going. You come to a show out here.
This is what happened earlier. You know, John and I hadn't seen each other since right before the pandemic started, and so he's sitting there. I notice he's standing there. I check 4 people in, and I'm like, 1 second, and then I after the 4th person, he's like, it's not gonna be 1 more second, and he just started walking around. It's like I'm like, John. I was like, I sent my stepdad over, big help, and then showed him the green room. I'm like.
I love it, dude. Well, everybody that we know
Yeah.
that, especially show night, you don't have conversations with SoulJoel. You have phrases that eventually get continued.
Yeah.
That I can understand. Yeah. Well, one guy right before I went on, we're standing there, and a guy actually asked me, "Who's the band playing afterwards? What do I think about them? What's the other band that played 2 weekends ago?" And I looked at him like, "I'm sorry." Man. He goes, "No, I know you're busy." I go, "No, I'm about to go on stage." Like it's not about busy.
Right.
It's I'm trying to get my own thoughts together. And then because I talked to that guy, I forgot to introduce the band after the show. And that's why I had to do it in between John and Brendan.
You got it in, yep. And I said to Gavin when you're walking right when you were walking up on stage, I was like, I don't know how he does that shit. Because when my band we set up our shit, then we have whatever time is left, half an hour, whatever, to just sit around and do nothing.
Yeah.
You know, we might talk to some friends that are at the gig or whatever, but that's it. You're running around dealing with 47 different things. You probably booked 3 shows tonight. You know what I mean? And
Right.
and then you got it. Then you walk right up there, and it's like go time.
Yeah.
You know, it's wild, bro. It's really cool to see.
Well, John, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And
This was incredible.
Friday, March 31st.
Yeah.
They're going to be here. It's the staph
I'm psyched
infection,
for that, man.
which is hilarious. That's what you guys call
awesome.
it.
Yeah, the staph infection.
Yeah, I mean that started before me. That used to be a regular thing we did in Manhattan. It has not happened since before the pandemic, even a while before that.
Yeah.
And we had a bunch of regulars that used to come out. So I know some fans are like very excited.
Yeah.
There's a girl out there with a staph infection tattoo.
No,
That's true.
that's killer.
She got the tattoo and then we like stopped doing the show.
Oh, yikes.
I actually sent her a message. I really did, just to be like, because I wanted her to feel better about her tattue.
Well,
That's the whole reason we're doing the show.
That's great.
I told the story I think this is why I didn't, except for that one post, I hadn't really announced the show.
Yeah.
And we sold like 6 tickets, and a lady that bought tickets for Brewer couldn't go because she was going on vacation, which
Okay.
pay attention to the dates.
Right, yeah.
And she goes, "Hey, can I use my tickets for the Impractical Jokers?" I said, "If you didn't know about it, how'd you find out?" She goes, "Oh, everybody's talking about it in the Impractical Jokers Facebook groups."
That community is like they're great.
Yeah,
like
they're-
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of us promoted it. They just found out about it.
There's a guy who he listens to my podcast. He's a big IJ fan. Shout out to Fart Guy. He's the he calls and leaves farts on our voicemail for us.
Who doesn't?
But Fart Guy was like, "Is it okay if I share this on like the IJ fan pages?" I was like, "Yeah, go for it." You know, and he was one of the guys just getting out there, putting it places, and like, yeah, that community is awesome like that. I think it's gonna be a shout out to Fart Guy. Fart Guy's the best.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Not far from here. He's like a Philly guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
So he'll probably be there.
I hope so.
Dude, so far we haven't sold any tickets in this surrounding area.
Okay.
Manhattan,
Yeah.
North Jersey,
Yeah.
and Syracuse.
That one,
Dog.
That's a hike.
Something tells me that person, they, them, he, her, might have a tattoo.
Might. There's
Something-
a tattoo.
something's going on.
We'll see.
We just need people to buy tickets within 6 hours of here, between here and there, and we'll add a second show.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
John Szeluga, Alan Hill, our producer Jesse. I'm SoulJoel. I'm sorry I was late.